Topic 7 is in quadrilaterals. Let's review the properties of quadrilaterals. The most broad type of quadrilateral is parallelograms. In a parallelogram, the opposite sides are equal or congruent. The opposite sides are parallel. That's why they're called a parallelogram. Opposite angles are also equal or congruent. Adjacent angles add to 180 degrees, which remember is called supplementary. And the diagonals bisect each other, which means cut in half. If it's a rectangle, it follows all the parallelogram rules, but it also has some rules of its own. The opposite sides are equal or congruent. Each interior angle is 90 degrees, and the diagonals are also equal or congruent. A rhombus follows all the parallelogram rules, plus all the sides are equal. Opposite angles are equal. Adjacent angles are supplementary. The diagonals are perpendicular. And the angles are bisected by the diagonals. Squares follow all of this, so all the sides are equal, all the angles are 90 degrees, and the diagonals are perpendicular, equal, and bisect the angles and each other. A trapezoid has one pair of opposite sides that are parallel, and each side has supplementary angles. In an isosceles trapezoid, there's one pair of opposite sides parallel. The other pair of opposite sides are congruent. The base angles are congruent. Each side has supplementary angles, and the diagonals are congruent. And then finally, a kite, the consecutive sides are congruent. It has one pair of opposite angles that are congruent, and the diagonals are perpendicular. So I know that's a lot of properties to remember. You're not going to have to write them all down on the SOL or anything, but you're going to need to know this to help you solve the problems. So let's look at our first example. A parallelogram ABCD is a rhombus with the measure of angle EBC equaling 36 degrees. What is the measure of angle DAE? So DAE, that is this angle right here that we're looking for. Now, we know that DAE and EAB have to be the same measure because our property told us that the angles are bisected by the diagonal, so each piece is equal. That also helps us over here because if this is 36, this is 36. Now there's two different ways to do this. We know that the consecutive angles add up to 180, so if this is x and this is x, x plus 36 plus 36 has to equal 180. Or this is a triangle here, and we know that the diagonals are perpendicular, so it's a right triangle. So x plus 90 plus 36 has to equal 180. I like this one because there's less numbers and less x's. So I'm going to subtract the 36 and subtract the 90. and that gives me 54 degrees. Example number 2. The diagonals of a rectangle intersect at the point 2, 1. One of the vertices of the rectangle, KLMN, is located at -4, 5. So I'm going to plot that one, -4, 5. I'm going to pretend that's K just for fun. The diagonals intersect at 2, 1. So I'm going to make that I for intersection. Now let's look back at our diagonals for our rectangle. Rectangle diagonals are equal. And since it's a parallelogram, they bisect each other. So this is the middle of the rectangle. So I'm going to count from K to I. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to get to the other corner, the opposite corner from K, I'm going to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and across 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could also do 6 and 4 this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the same the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, one of these dots should land in this list. So 8, -3, 8, -3. There we go. And a rhombus, so that tells us which shape we're dealing with. AC, so this diagonal, equals 30. And BD equals 40. What is the perimeter? So that's the outside. So first, what do we know about the diagonals of a rhombus? Diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular, and because they come from a parallelogram, they bisect each other. So if AC was 30, each piece is 15, and for BD, each piece is 20. We're going to cut it in half. Since we know that they are perpendicular, we now have this right triangle here so that I can find out what one of the sides are, because we want to add up all the sides. The nice thing about a rhombus is all the sides are equal. So x squared would equal 15 squared plus 20 squared, which means x squared would equal 625. And if I square root both sides, I get that x equals 25. So now I know I've got 25 here, 25 here, 25 here, and 25 here. So if I add all of them up, I get that the perimeter is 100 inches. That's it. Go work